Hi guys, I'm Maggie from One Richmond. Today we're going to be reading a book, Last Stop on Market Street by Matt De La Pena and Christian Robinson. The Last Stop on Market Street. The first thing that happens in a book after the title page is usually the dedication. Does this street look familiar to anyone? This book is dedicated for Luna and her two grandmas. And in the front, what do we see? We see a little boy and his grandma. So whoever wrote this book definitely loved their grandma. CJ pushed through the church doors, skipped down the steps. The outside air smelled like freedom, but it also smelled like rain, which freckled CJ's shirt and dripped down his nose. Right off the bat, who can spot CJ? We see him leaving the steps of the church with his grandma right behind him. He ducked under his Nana's umbrella, saying, "How come we gotta wait for the bus and all this wet?" "Trees get thirsty too," his Nana told him. "Don't you see that big one drinking through a straw?" CJ looked for a long time, but he never saw a straw. From the bus stop, he watched water pool on flower petals, watched rain patter against the windshield of a nearby car. His friend Colby chimed in, gave CJ a wave, and drove off with his dad. "Nana, how come we don't got a car?" "Boy, what do we need a car for? We got a bus that breathes fire, and old Mr. Dennis, who always has a trick for you." The bus creaked to a stop in front of them. It sighed and sagged, and the doors swung open. This is the first time we see the bus. It's 5 Market. Who has taken the 5 Market bus? It goes all the way from the Richmond to downtown and back. Here we see it again. We see Mr. Dennis, CJ, and his grandma. "What's that I see?" Mr. Dennis asked. He pulled a coin from behind CJ's ear, placed it in his palm. Nana laughed her deep laugh and pushed CJ along. Ha ha ha. They sat right up front. The man across the way was tuning a guitar. An old woman with curls had butterflies in a jar. Nana gave everyone a great big smile and a "good afternoon." She made sure CJ did the same. And here you can see them on the bus sitting next to everyone. You see the man with the guitar and the woman with the butterflies in the jar. The bus lurched forward and stopped, lurched forward and stopped. Nana hummed as she knit. "How come we always gotta go here after church?" CJ said. "Miguel and Colby never have to go anywhere." "I feel sorry for those boys," she told him. "They'll never get a chance to meet Bobo and the sunglass man. I hear Trixie got herself a brand new hat." CJ stared out of the window, feeling sorry for himself. He watched cars zip on by either side, watched a group of boys hop curbs on bikes. A man climbed aboard with a spotted dog. CJ gave up his seat. "How come that man can't see?" "Boy, what do you know about seeing?" Nana told him. "Some people watch the world with their ears." "That's a fact, their noses too," the man said, sniffing the air. "That's a mighty fine perfume you're wearing today, ma'am." Nana squeezed the man's hand and laughed her deep laugh. Ha, ha, ha. Two older boys got on next. CJ watched as they moved on by and stood in back. Sure wish I had one of those, he said. Nana set down her knitting. What for? You got the real live thing sitting across from you. Why don't you ask the man if he'll play us a song? So what is CJ looking at the boys and wishing he had? They're listening to music and he wishes that he could be with his friends listening to music and kind of living his own teenage life. But then CJ didn't have to. The guitar player was already plucking strings and began to play. To feel the magic of music, the blind man whispered, I like to close my eyes. Nana closed her eyes too. So did CJ and the spotted dog. And in the darkness, the rhythm lifted CJ out of the bus, out of the busy city. He saw sunset colors swirling over crashing waves, saw a family of hawks slicing through the sky, saw the old woman's butterflies dancing free in the light of the moon. CJ's chest grew full, and he was lost in the sound, and the sound gave him the feeling of magic. So right away, this song transports CJ out of the bus and out of the busy city and into his own world. What music or what type of music makes you guys feel like you're in your own world? The song ended and CJ opened his eyes. Everyone in the bus clapped, even the boys in the back. Nana glanced at the coin in CJ's palm. CJ dropped it in the man's hat. Last stop on Market Street, Mr. Dennis called. And they got off the bus. CJ looked around as he stepped off the bus. Crumbling sidewalks and broken down doors, graffiti-tagged windows, and boarded up stores. He reached for his Nana's hand. How come it's always so dirty over here? She smiled and pointed to the sky. Sometimes, when you're surrounded by dirt, CJ, you're better at witnessing for what's beautiful. CJ saw the perfect rainbow arcing over their soup kitchen. He wondered how his Nana always found beautiful wherever he never even thought to look. He looked around them again, at the bus rounding the corner out of sight, and the broken street lamps still lit up bright, and the stray cat shadows moving across the wall. Can you guys recognize where this is downtown? When he spotted their familiar faces in the window, he said, I'm glad we came. And you can see CJ seeing all these familiar faces. He thought his Nana might laugh her deep laugh, but she didn't. She patted him on the head and told him, Me too, CJ. Now come on. Can you guys spot CJ in this photo? CJ's right over here, cooking with his grandma. It looks like they're passing out food at the soup kitchen. And you can see all these different types of people who are eating together and sharing a meal. The end. And finally, you see CJ reading a book with his grandma, waiting for the 5 bus. The last stop on Market Street. If we stretch the book out, you can see the whole bus. I hope you guys enjoyed the book and thank you for joining me.